Hey guys, it's Jen here, and I just watched the Barbie movie, and oh my god. I fully went into this movie thinking it was gonna be like a silly kids movie with some meta commentary and full of comedy. I didn't expect it to be filled with emotion, feeling so emotional for Barbie, feeling so emotional about my childhood and the role Barbie has played in it. I grew up with the Barbie movies, and I'm thankful for the nostalgia and the messages they brought. Thankful that even to this day I can go back to watch these movies from my childhood and not feel ashamed for watching a kids movie. Barbie is generational and not just meant for kids, in my opinion. Like we see with Gloria in the movie holding on to her child's doll and playing with her. It's refreshing that instead of seeing a child being the cause of Barbie's changing because of an existential crisis as a kid, it was an adult mother going through an existential crisis because of the position she was put in as a woman in a patriarchal world. We start off with seeing Barbie land and what the different Barbies and Kens go through in their day, from saying hi to one another, hanging out at the beach, throwing a party bash, where stereotypical Barbie starts having dark thoughts about death, which freaks everybody out. These dark thoughts start to have an effect on Barbie's life as her perfect life, her perfect self, is no more, which is a reflection of her human owner not being perfect. Not wanting to be perfect anymore because that lifestyle is too much, especially when it goes underappreciated. Barbie ventures off to the real world in hopes that she could fix her human and mistakenly believes it's Gloria's daughter, Sasha. Sasha lets Barbie have it on how Barbie isn't the symbol that she thinks she is and how she may have done more harm than good. This shakes Barbie's world because she's gone her whole existing believing that she's helped women. Her world continues to change when Ken, who came to the real world with Barbie, brings the patriarchy to Barbie Land, transforming it into Kendom Land. In Barbie Land, where Barbie and Ken lived in harmony, the Barbies, or specifically the female dolls, have been brainwashed into caring about the men and forgetting their careers. One Barbie forgets she's a Nobel Peace Prize winner, another Barbie forgets she's the president, and so on. Ken was so upset with Barbie not paying any attention to him that he changed the world so Barbie's eyes never left him. And can I say that this felt eerily familiar and weird? I couldn't help but make parallels to our real world. Ken was once soft and fun, but once he felt lonely and got swept up in certain aspect, changed his personality, changed their whole world. The movie makes jokes on Barbie and Ken's relationship status, but instead of these strong women we saw in the beginning of the film, they were reduced to now waiting on the men. Similar to what I thought about how in certain relationships, women act more like servants in the guise of love and traditional roles. Is it funny when Ken gets lost in a rabbit hole, brings the patriarchy to Barbie Land? One of the changes is pushing Barbie, women, into servant roles, forcing them to forget their previous lives. Obviously, they don't do it as harshly as the real world might do. In order to fix everything, the Barbie's brainwash had to be undone by Gloria with a beautiful speech about the harsh and unfair treatment of women. In the end, Barbie's able to make things go back to the way it once was and apologizes to Ken for ignoring him, but doesn't make it her responsibility to fix him. That is something he had to do on his own. Even if everything worked out in the end, the turmoil Barbie has gone through makes her feel less than, not whole, not perfect. When talking with Ruth, the creator of Barbie, we get this beautiful scene of real females from kids to adults, which makes Barbie realize that being in Barbie Land isn't for her. Being human is what she wants to do. Finding out who she is in her own way is what she wants to do. She's not stereotypical Barbie anymore, but a real woman. Human. Listen, there might be some heavy topics, but don't let that stop you from watching this movie. I don't know how many times I laughed, held a smile for so long, grooved in my seat, whispered a thought about something that I liked, sat on the edge of my seat, was literally gagged at the more emotional moments. This film is something many ages can enjoy, and hopefully it not only touches the heart of nostalgia for the audiences, but more people's eyes can be open of the problem affecting Barbie world. Go watch the movie for the comedy, for the acting, the songs, or if you want to just dress up and have fun. God, I wish I owned the outfits. I saw a lot of people show out for this movie, and though I wore pink, maybe I should have taken this moment to go all out too. But considering that I watched this with my sisters just for us to go home afterwards, I think my pink skater pants, hot pink tank top, red bandana, shades, and black shoes were okay. Though I wish I invested in a pink cowboy hat. But I am mad that the line was so freaking long when I got to the theater and after the movie because I didn't get to get pictures in the doll box. But I knew myself and I was not going to wait that long. Hopefully it's still there by the time TMNT comes out. Listen, let me list off some things about the acting and the characters, okay? Margot Robbie was fantastic. Her ability to play a fun, free character in the same movie shows someone being so emotional, confused about who they are. Mwah. I didn't think we would have seen that side of Barbie, and I'm glad. I know people were clowning on Ryan Gosling taking this role earlier, but I liked his portrayal of Ken. Like Margot Robbie said in an interview, it was brave of Ryan Gosling to take this role and be in touch with his masculinity, because some male actors wouldn't have taken this role. I think he was also brave because his age came into question with people thinking he was too old to play Ken, which is an issue many female actresses go through in Hollywood as ageism, beauty comes into question when it comes to the role, and I've never actually ever seen that for male actors. Issa Rae, Will Ferrell are funny. They're just naturally comedic to me, and I love when they came onto screen. Speaking of Will, I went in thinking that he was going to be the villain, the antagonist that Barbie would face, but the complete opposite happened. Michael Cera was great in the role of Alan. We love Alan. We stan Alan. Alan was a marginalized doll in a world filled with Kens, and different groups feel seen with him. Whether you see him as a queer-coded character or not, Alan is a male who doesn't fit in with the other masculine Ken, who fits in more with the girls and is on their side and wants to help them. It's sad that in Barbie Land, there was one male willing to help the women, and hopefully, we stand with the Allens of the world instead of focusing our time and energy on the Kens. I don't understand the issue of Hari Nef, hopefully I'm pronouncing her name right, playing one of the Barbies. I just feel that there's people out there who's trying to hate on this movie, and this is one of their gripes. It never said if Hari Nef's Barbie is trans, and even if it was, it shouldn't cause discourse. Remember, the dialogue and actions of the characters are through the lens of children. So honestly, what is the issue? She's playing a toy with a minor role, and it's 2023. Why is there even an issue? This is what people want to focus on when it comes to the film. This is what people want to focus on at all, considering what's going on in our world. Just enjoy the movie. Y'all, it's getting tiring. She's Barbie, okay? She's Barbie. Adding on to this, I love the representation. The different skin tones and body shapes of Barbie and Ken's. And they were all Barbie and Ken, unless specified to be Alan, Skipper, or Midge. I'm happy they were just there. They didn't explain why these dolls look different from stereotypical Barbie or Ken, but they were also just Barbie and Ken. If this movie was made decades ago, we probably wouldn't have gotten diversity to this degree, or at least in the main characters that talked. Maybe a black doll character for Nikki, and Nikki is okay, but we got black Barbie characters. They're all Barbie. Moving on, let's talk about Ken. I said earlier how eerily familiar and weird Ken was in this film when compared to some males in real life, but I can't say I see him as a villain. Ken has a childish aura to him, and when you remember he's played with by children, his character represents boyhood to manhood as he doesn't gradually go through it, going through certain experiences of what makes a man, finding out who he is, but just jump straight into it, thinking he knows what makes a man, or that the patriarchy is what he wants. He even admits that he got bored of it, bored of being that way, but decided he needed to commit to it. I think there's some young boys out there who can relate to Ken, where they get swept up in life, and instead of finding out who they are, what makes them men, they just jump into what society assumes men have to be, and for the moment, they may like it. The control, the fun, and it takes a real one to realize that a patriarchal world may not be that great, or is even great if other people are completely under your control and suffering. I'm glad Barbie told Ken he needs to find himself. He shouldn't be a follower, but he needs to know who he is, especially without Barbie. There are some who think Barbie shouldn't have apologized, especially since Ken didn't, and I agree. Ken should have apologized, but at the same time, we see how that's not in Ken's character right now. We see how Ken struggles with certain things, such as wanting to be cool and think it's uncool to cry or show emotions in front of people. So though it would have been nice to have him apologize for what he's done or how he's treated Barbie, Barbie shouldn't have had to apologize, because it made it seem that it was her fault that this happened to Ken. Even if she ignored Kim, his jealousy, his reaction was all his. Her apology kind of gave off, if only I paid more attention to you, then none of this would have happened. The one thing I'll say is that her apologizing goes along with the theme of women roles in society. Women have to pick up the pieces. This is what they're made for in the eyes of some men, in the eyes of some women, or society as a whole. Gloria's speech about women in society was beautiful and emotional. The fact that so many girls relate to her speech is amazing, but scary how common the treatment of women is. From a young age, before I actually became a woman, as I'm an adult now, I realized that I was already a woman in the eyes of others, specifically men. I can't believe I was put in situations where I became aware of my existence as a female before I actually found myself. The more I grew up, the more I saw how not only was I a woman, but I saw how the opposite sex views me, views women, not as people, human, but as objects who can't be or do anything but one thing. Be one way, and that thought is depressing. The fact that I heard some men got up and left the movie when Gloria's speech happened, or hate this part of the movie, is sad. The speech completely went over their heads, and they couldn't see or understand how Gloria was speaking for women, women's lived experiences. She didn't pull this out her ass. Along with Gloria's speech of women's society, Billie Eilish's song continues to hit the message home of why are we here, what was I made for? It makes life feel sad, lonely, tiring. How many people can relate to these messages? Even if life gets hard, there's hope. With all of this, with Barbie picking up the broken pieces, the real question gets asked, what about Barbie? The change she goes through gives her hope that there's something more out there for her. So instead of putting out there that women are only here to breed, clean, cook, serve men, not work, can't be president, can't do this, can't do that, let's figure out who we are, what we can do, and what we want to do on our own. You're telling me why I exist? And I'm just supposed to follow that and not fight back? I'm just complaining at this point and should be quiet? Yeah, nah, buzz off. Barbie might deal with serious topics, but it's pink, funny, joyful, deep movie, and her critics are just dragging it. Calling it an anti-men film, undermining the feminist, girl boss themes that resonate with women. This is Barbie's story. There's elements that women can relate to within their own story. Whose fault is it that there's a common issue Barbie and the real world have when it comes to their world changing for the worse? Some men might be trash, but not all men. But going back to before, even if you aren't the Ken upholding patriarchy in your life, having women take care of you while you neglect their needs because you're not made to help them the way they help you, don't ignore the society that we live in. You might not be continuing the problem, but your silence still allows it to happen. Again, be an Allen. But be the Allen that eventually stayed. Not the Allen who wanted to escape, fought his way to escape, and was essentially dragged back. He didn't make the conscious choice to stay and help initially. So there's people out there like Escape Allen who became Stay/Help Allen. Or maybe they're already Stay/Help Allen from the beginning. You do get it? You understand me? Okay, good. The Barbie movie was amazing. And I want to talk about nostalgia again. I love seeing the different eras of Barbie, and maybe the community has discourse on which eras are the best, but we can agree that we've been seeing different sides of her lately. Mattel has been marketing her as more of a real girl. She's a vlogger, family friends oriented, wants to pursue her dreams, and this movie added on to the fact that Barbie wants to be so much more. Yes, the creation of Barbie wished to change the fact that previous girl dolls were about motherhood. Yes, Barbie has had controversy that could have set the female population back, but she wants to be different. Instead of the real world fangirling and wanting to be like Barbie, she realized that she just wants to be like you and me. Thank you, Barbie, for being there for people, for giving people love and hope, for inspiring people. There have been hiccups along the road, many hiccups, but you're not perfect and neither are we. I'm glad I've been a fan of Barbie my whole life, and that I was able to view this movie in possibly a different way than others. I can't say that because of the movie I hope to be more like Barbie, as I never really felt that way. Unless we're talking about body types when I was younger, or the lack of representation turning me away from the brand. But I can say that, like Barbie, I understand being perfect is not the way. And I'm hopeful a new generation can grow up differently with this new version of Barbie in their homes, hearts, and minds.